Hello, welcome to Patched. I'm your host Paul James, and today I'm again joined by Jay Parnas.
Yes, that is me.
Where we continue our E3 spiel. This time we're talking
Spiel.
about... It's just waffle.
Let me just schlep through the E3.
We're continuing to talk about E3. This time we're talking about one of the big three. So,
Oh yeah,
three.
I guess.
Those three being Microsoft, Sony,
The
Nintendo,
console developers.
manufacturers. So, and Microsoft were the first came off the rank when it came to those publishers. So, well, let's talk about it. So the biggest thing going into the Xbox press conference was the fact that
Dat Mad Scorps.
the Scorpio was going to be there. We now know that it's called Xbox One X.
Yeah.
Which, if you cut it all down, as a few people have identified,
XBOX.
Geniuses. It gets rid of the whole X-Bone thing straight away.
One X. Xbox.
Brilliantly done.
I think, yeah. Whoever did that probably got a pay rise. It's like, you've
horrible
solved
acronym.
the problem. You're genius. You've retained the same naming structure and yet you have salvaged something.
Yeah. I mean, I would have been okay with Scorpio. I would have been okay with the rumoured Elite. Just because that's a thing they did last gen, and it kind of has this
I guess
weight about it. But
that'll make it the Expo.
yeah, better than Bone though.
I mean,
so look, the trailer
less like
itself,
a stick than the X-Bone.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, there was a little sizzle reel at the beginning that kind of showed off the name, the logo, the machine itself. Kind of waffled on a little bit about some of the specs.
Gigaflops, teraflops.
Lots of floppage. Little finer details that were spoken about a little bit more in interviews and bits and pieces afterwards. So, like the cooling.
They spoke about that on stage.
But then was
the vapor wave or whatever the fuck it's
microwave that's in there that cooks your Xbox.
Yeah. They've now got extra rings for your red ring.
The vapor chamber. That's what we're after.
Yeah, that's the one.
That helps cool it, which was really cool. Which is interesting because it is the smallest Xbox that they've ever made, and certainly one of the smallest consoles we've seen since what you said earlier today, with being the
reminded
PS2.
Me of the PS2. Yeah, we got to see it after the show. They had it live on
YouTube Live.
On the YouTube Live, and when seeing them sort of move that around in the hand, it definitely made me think of the old PS2 Slim.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quite that thin, but
no, I think it's a bit thicker than like that.
Maybe the OG
tiny.
Yeah, maybe the OG PS2 perhaps, but
we're seeing Jeff Keighley waving around his hands and like no worries, let's look at this. And it wasn't like just some shell. Major Nelson was with him, and he confirmed that was actually a fully functional.
Yeah. And they specifically didn't bring the power cable, so
they didn't bring power cable, so no one can prove that it's working and blah 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 blah.
But even still, it was. Look, they also mentioned on that it was about 40% more powerful than the Xbox One S, I believe.
Yes,
which
was already an improvement on the original Xbox One.
Correct, but that was like 16% or something like that.
And it was more about the HDR and those sorts of things rather than
size,
rather than raw grunt.
Because that was about 40% of the size, I believe, of the original. Xbox One. So look, it was cool. At the end of the show, they gave the price point. I'm going to skip ahead to that because
$450 equates to $4.99,
which
equates to $650 for us.
$650 is it?
$650 for us. So you can make sure to get that when it comes out. And then from there they really took a leaf out of, I think, what PlayStation did especially well last year, where it's just games over and over and over again.
There was that ongoing rumor that they might bundle in the Elite controller with it. Which didn't seem to be confirmed.
Not yet, but again, in that interview with Jeff Keighley, like Major Nelson,
they gave nothing away.
Just shoot
fill a text.
Fill a text. You might be able to make it work.
Yeah, which would be interesting. I think that would make that price point definitely
more attractive.
More attractive for sure. I mean, because that thing goes 120 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it goes for Aussie, but that obviously it might even be more than that. But then, of course, they jumped basically into games. And the first thing that they showed off...
Forza 7.
It's typically the sort of game you show off. Races are a great one for showing off the technology on a console. So Forza 7, which is going to come out in October.
Plus, the road and the...
And just the way light hits the cars with the different angles and the shape of them.
Reflective surfaces and sense of speed and all of that sort of stuff.
That sort of stuff.
And it did seem to have all that from... I mean, what they showed...
Like, I don't like racing games, but it looks stunning.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can only imagine what this console's going to be able to do in the future when you get to Forza 8 and Horizon 4 and all those sorts of things.
And when paired up with even a 4K TV.
Yeah, and if they can shed at some point, I don't know, they probably won't, they've said they won't, but if they somehow shed the original Xbox models and eventually this becomes like a default, imagine what they could do with it then.
I mean, I don't really even think that's necessary because, I mean, they still had games like Shadows of Mordor coming out on the 360.
Yeah.
And look, that was an entire generation behind, whereas the Xbox One is not quite that. I mean, it's definitely marketed behind, but it's not really that far behind the PS4. So I don't think they'd have to make that move until Sony does. Because Sony needs to keep supporting their PS4. And while the Xbox One is weaker than the PS4, it still is sort of on some level ground, if that makes sense.
You think it's down to Sony to dictate terms?
Yes.
Going into this gen.
That's right, yes. I think when Sony pulls the pin and says, okay, whatever the next thing is that's above the Pro that matches sort of punch for punch with the Scorpio, I think that's when when they'll pull the pin and say, all right, well, now the XBOX is now the base model, and we're now going to take it one step further.
And let's look what next.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So we spoke about this in yesterday's episode, the one where we spoke about EA, and this is not running in the order of the conference.
No, this is not chronological. This is just Anthem. Whatever the fuck we've got in whatever order we have.
It's self-advertised.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay, sure. Okay.
That's how they all ordered in the system.
Start with Forza, and now we're going to move on to...
I fixed those two up because they opened it, and then we go from there.
Yeah.
Cool. Anthem, which we saw a bit of yesterday.
Yeah, a lot is stretching it.
It was 40 seconds or whatever it was.
Yeah. Lots of boom.
It was a large tease.
Yes. Even by teaser standards, it wasn't all that long.
But then we got a fairly meaty demo, which we're not going to show the whole thing of here, just because it goes for about 6.5 to 7 minutes.
That facial stuff looks amazing.
There's some really cool facial tech there.
Skipping through that, I mean, I don't know if you are going to skip ahead through any of that, but fuck, the gameplay looks really good. Oh, it looks really, really good. I mean, and it was definitely...
And you're not a massive BioWare fan either.
No, but I mean, look, it's got flying mechs and shit. Like, who gives a shit?
It's like Dark Void in some respects. Dark Void's not a good game.
It wasn't the worst.
It wasn't, but it's not a great game. But
it did some innovative things, but it was definitely
jumping
not.
in your jetpack suit and just like it reminded me instantly of what we've seen there. Like,
and then some of the firing and stuff like that, like assault rifles, and there were a few little missile circuses that were around and some mortars and shit like that. The explosions looked fantastic. There was a hint at some loot. At one point, there was a loot drop. So who knows?
Instantly made your ears prick.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, from what it looked like, comparing it to something like Destiny, and they did have a bit where another player or two dropped in. I think they had a squad of up to 4 at one point, which is only one more than the Destiny strike team, and it's on point with something like a Borderlands. So if you're going to have something like that, and you're going to be having, and they explicitly said when talking about it, that it was very customizable mechs. If you're looking at a super customizable mech that you get to fly around and do cool shit in, and having loot drops, I don't give as far as I'm concerned, you can have as much...
Nelly, you're laughing.
Yes, you can have as much boring Mass Effect dialogue as you like, because if that's what the gameplay's like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
I mean, we've obviously not seen what conversations
they haven't,
like, what
or
RPG
any
elements
correct.
might or mightn't be.
Which is why I'm so interested.
Very actiony.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so interested, because
it would be a far cry from what
no, that's tomorrow.
What they've done. It would be a far cry from what BioWare is known for if it remains as action heavy as what we've seen on screen.
I mean, if you think of maybe Mass Effect 3 or even some of the gameplay from Andromeda, some of the movement looks a little bit...
Yeah, you can see elements of what's happening.
Obviously not to the same extent, obviously.
No, because Andromeda's still just a little boost to jump, whereas this is boost and fly.
Yeah, and almost...
massive.
You know what it actually reminded me of? It reminded me of the Just Cause wingsuit.
Oh, yeah,
like just the movement of it looked very much like the sort of arms behind and the sort of gliding around, which I guess you guys will see. But yeah, look, the game from a gameplay perspective, and you guys know that I'm very heavy in like gameplay and mechanics and stuff like that. Sold, just straight up sold. Like if you can give me more of that, and boy did it look great. Like it just was a very pretty thing to look at. I'm pretty sure at the end they showed like a vista or something like that, just this big sort of open
expanse of some sort.
Looked very nice.
And I mean, let's be honest, most of those trailers, if they know that they're a really sharp, good-looking game, then they end on something like that. Because
for sure. And it looked like they had a few different styles of mech as well, like some big clunky ones, some light agile ones. So
that'll be down to your choice and what's.
Yeah, that'll probably, I think, maybe take the class aspect. I think that seems like the most logical place to go. But again,
there was one point, and we're back to the visuals here, but like you're running through a storm there, and the whipping around you, and you can see the trees and the leaves scattering, and the lightning, and elements, items, objects flying through the air. It's impressive what they're doing visually there.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's kind of this big kind of portal thing that you go flying through, the logo, and it's
I would like to again touch on the irony that they opened with facial animations, considering the last BioWare game to come out.
Maybe that's sending a message.
Perhaps. I mean, that'd be a very smart message.
The thing to keep in mind with BioWare is that the core team that's doing Anthem here is not the team who did Mass Effect Andromeda. Right?
Yeah, no, I know.
And I think, we spoke about this in the predictions, and I think the main reason this was here is because they wanted to very quickly distance the BioWare name from.
Perhaps. I mean, we don't know how far away this game is. I mean,
this ain't getting.
Well, yes, but I mean, we don't know how far along. For all we know, like a large portion of.
Old too.
Yeah, exactly. Like for all we know, they could be spending a few months on polishes just because they want netcode to be better or something like. They might have some open betas very soon. For all we know, like it might be quite far along, and they just want to get it out there to kind of get rid of that evil, or dispel that not evil, but like that negative sort of
aura that was hanging around them.
Yes, thank you for wording that better than I could at the time.
So, I guess we're jumping into some indie stuff now, but we're looking at Ashen at the moment, which was a game from Annapurna, which is they're kind of becoming more and more prominent. I wouldn't say they're your big name sort of indie studio.
I feel like I've seen this game somewhere else. Was this at last year's?
Yeah, I felt like there was something in the past as well, but I couldn't. And we were both
I remember
we couldn't quite put our finger on where
the like face but not faces that they've got. And the whole sort of glove hand and I don't.
There's a bit going on there, and it was really kind of quite interesting. I want to know more.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly when it was out. We'll see when we get towards the end of the trailer. I've forgotten this.
They didn't really use any like language as to what the game is going to be. They didn't say well, it's going to be a dungeon crawler, or it's going to be a roguelike, or it's going to be procedural, or that. They didn't say any of that. It looks like all of those things, but I don't know.
Who knows? And then, there's some really large, I guess it's a boss, really large bosses that you have to deal with there.
I suppose.
So who knows what you actually.
Date?
No, I mean we're looking at the title of the game now, and apparently no date. No, the Xbox logo and close.
Well,
the next one though is one that you've been sweating on for many a year. We're about to watch some. We're about to watch some Crackdown 3.
Okay. Terry Crews, motherfucker.
What is it? Yeah. That was really quite entertaining. Now
it was.
We were mentioning the.
I was disappointed that there was no.
Crews, I'm like, who? And then I saw the face. Oh, right.
Yeah, I was like, Old Spice, power! And you're like, I don't think I know. And then you saw him and you're like, oh, right.
And then all the everything started rolling, and I was interested to see Sumo Digital's behind it.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah. Which, aren't they developing a few things at the moment?
Yeah, they seem to be really getting involved in everything. Sumo Digital did Little Big Planet 3. They did Snake Pass.
Snake Pass is the one that I'm thinking of.
And then all of a sudden they're doing Crackdown 3 with Terry Crews and... we don't know anything more about that whole cloud, that cloud.
Yeah, the destruction didn't really seem to be there, but look, I mean, it's a.
But it is coming day and date with the Xbox One X.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see. I mean,
there'll be plenty of gameplay. That's presumably already come out
after Gamescom. Yeah, so we might see something. At
Gamescom's like a month away. So.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
I thought it was like. August or something.
It might, a month or two, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll inevitably see more. I'm sure there's plenty that's already playable at E3 at the moment.
As far as I'm concerned, if Terry Crews is a voiced character or even a playable character, I'm sold. I don't care.
He's just that good in your eyes?
He is. Like, I mean...
Look, it's a very stylistic game. I love that.
It is. No, it has a very... I think I mentioned sort of the Telltale Borderlands-y type cel-shaded. Yeah. I think that...
Slightly exaggerated.
Yeah, I guess not quite super deformed or anything like that, but definitely has that sort of drawn-on sort of half cell shaded look.
Yeah,
almost
sure.
like here's a reference from way back 13.
Yeah, I remember that game. I didn't play it myself, but I
maybe a little bit
the art style behind it.
Yeah, not quite as cell shaded as that, but getting there. It looks nice. The explosions look nice. The fire looks nice. The laser effects look nice.
Pew pew.
Yeah, and look, if it's got what Crackdown does best, which is the exponential growth of character, sort of through collection and progression, could be a lot of fun. Could be a lot of fun. I mean, look, for me, one of the main things that I enjoyed about the sort of first Crackdown was just Keys to the City, which is basically where you just fuck with everything.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, it was literally it was almost like debug options that they sort of patched into the game that you could just spawn shit in and have fun.
Now, they didn't say anything about multiplayer at all. And I know that was meant to be part of it because there was meant to be a multiplayer beta last year, which just never happened.
Yeah. Look, I don't know, and I honestly
there's
don't care.
There's plenty more to come out.
Yeah.
But the game itself, it's only a few months away, so they're going to have
prior to this conference and prior to them saying, hey, it's going to be at E3, it was dead as far as everyone else knew.
Yeah.
Like, it had just been so long that everyone's just like, this thing's fucking...
vaporware now.
This has been killed, yeah. So, it's nice to see that, they're clinging to what IPs they've still got over at Microsoft.
But next up is a game that we thought was basically dead, just like it. We're here to talk about Cuphead.
Oh.
Now, we only got a very, very short trailer.
I didn't think it was dead, but man, it was
struggling.
It was languishing, shall we say.
And now we know it's coming at the end of September.
Yes, September 29th. So
check yesterday's episode, you'll see me predicting.
Yeah. You in no way, shape or form had any sort of knowledge. Idea. Yeah, it was great. Great how you did that.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Inside
stunned.
tips.
Yeah.
But so we saw a few new bosses. We saw a little bit of the platforming that leads up to each of those bosses. And we saw that same artistic brilliance that attracted us to the game in the first place.
Great.
It's coming September 29. That's about all I need at the moment.
I kind of hope they actually just make a series.
Yeah.
I'd like, even if it's just a series of shorts or something like that. I'd like to see like an Adventures of Cuphead, or maybe like an Adult Swim or something like that. Not for kids. Like, I think with the themes that they're going for, like deals with the devil and stuff like that, and some of the some of the iconography or whatever they're going for, or like the visual style of making stuff.
Something like Dragon Ball Z.
No, well, I mean...
it's because it's just come on.
Look, I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
Just to quickly touch on that.
No, I absolutely agree. There's a lot they could do with that.
Yeah.
And it's a style that we don't see much from.
Fuck, Dragon Ball Z
was a real surprise.
Yeah, it was. I mean, look, this is probably coming out.
There was some stuff that leaked a couple of days before, but I don't think any of us had quite expected a 2D fighter.
Yeah, and that's what it looks like. And man, does it look like... It does not look like... What was that...
Tenkaichi and Budokai and all that.
Nah, there was another one. It was... because they've had 2D fighters before.
Oh, there's some really old ones that were...
No, it was like the PS3.
Oh.
Yeah, it was not great. It was not great. But this looks to me more like a Marvel vs. Capcom type game, where it's very frantic, lots of jumping and like air blocking and specials and supers and all sorts of crazy stuff, and it like the effects look great, and
it looks very true to the series,
and the animation looks really fucking cool. It doesn't look like your regular cell shading that they put into those games, where it kind of, I don't know, like it looks
warps the color. It's warped the colors of them a bit. Like everything, there's just never.
And they look like a 3D model, whereas this still kind of looks 2D to some degree, and the effects look 2D instead of it actually looking like there's depth, which for me kind of worked, I guess. I don't know. It was really nice. I was all about it at the time.
Yeah, I'm really keen on it. I can't wait to kind of see more. There was a lot. This next bit we've got a lot to talk about. We're into the indie game bit.
Oh shit!
There was an indie montage. We come to expect this from Sony and Microsoft, and they just throw everything at us. So we got to see a few things like this Fable Fortune, Osiris New Dawn,
Paladins.
I have no idea what Paladins was. I've heard the name.
Paladins.
But I had no idea what it was.
It's an Overwatch kind of game.
Important one to note: PlayerUnknown's Battleground.
Yes.
Coming to
which they even had on stage, and that'll
Fortnite.
be at release, I believe.
Yes.
Fortnite. Yes. That game still exists.
Yeah, which is one that kind of. I don't think you were ever actually aware of them. I kind of had to show
I think I heard the name,
afterwards.
but Astroneer is another crazy looking game. I really want to get in on that.
Oh, really? So you're a little bit sold on that one?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of that on some of the game developer GDC. It's been out for the last couple of years, and it's out in early access at the moment on Steam. And boy, does it look cool!
And then there's a few other little fighters, a few quirky sort of little games. There was one little bit where they were talking about We Happy Few, which was the only sighting of the game at E3 this year. But it was cool that we got to see We Happy Few there.
They showed the last night. They showed a full trailer for the last night, I believe, which looked like a cool Blade Runner-y type thing.
Yep.
Which I was pretty interested in.
I was quite impressed by what they showed, and even things like Dark and Night and the Darwin Project. Like there was some really cool ideas going on. I mean, Darwin Project was more of a competitive,
and it went for that.
Some of the ideas were kind of cool. I don't know if it'll work out, but
it wasn't great when they did that whole like esports thing with it.
No, get rid of shoutcasters. This is stupid. Why do we keep doing this? I had so much praise after the EA one because the guy was subdued during Star Wars, and then we get this where the guy's screaming at us through a microphone. Like, stop! Please stop!
Please help! Send help! I can't.
He's already dead.
Yeah, it's
to whip out the Simpsons references.
It was rough.
One of the things that kind of took everyone aback at the beginning, though, was Metro Exodus. So the Metro franchise, we've known it from Metro 2033, 2034, last generation. There was a Metro Redux, which kind of combined the two and remastered the two, which we've got on this generation. So maybe go out and play it if you're interested in what you've seen in the trailer here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still that same Russian setting. It's still based off the books. It's a follow-up to those previous games, but it looked stunning. It is coming to both platforms, despite what Microsoft suggested in the press conference. It's simultaneous launch. They just debuted it on the Microsoft stage.
Yeah.
And I think it was good because Microsoft was looking for a shooter anyway. Halo's a little way off. Gears is a way off. I think it was good to see. There were some interesting creatures that you had to fight there. This is another one I'm going to be skipping through a little bit on our end because it's about 5 minutes long, the trailer. But
yeah, it was pretty lengthy. It was definitely them trying to show gameplay, but it was a very cinematic look at the gameplay of like, oh, here's a set piece into a
pan and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, and like here's me grabbing an ammo clip from like a corpse and like having to break its hand or whatever to get it, and then unloading my gun and putting it in, and then later on having that clip jam or whatever. It was that type of stuff where it's like, this will never happen in game because it's too dynamic.
Yeah,
like no game will do that because it's like, who wants to have their clip?
You might do it for the first time with, like, for example, pulling ammo out of the hand, and then beyond that, it's
but yeah, like
and it jumps into your pockets.
Yeah, exactly. So and look, that would never have a first-person shooter where clips dynamically just locked on you, because that's just not a fun game mechanic, to be honest with you.
But then there's some really big, there's this big ugly bear sort of thing. I don't know much about the Metro games, unfortunately.
A behemoth?
A behemoth. Yeah.
There you go. I don't think that's its actual name.
Probably not.
But man, that's a good name.
It was an intimidating sight too.
Yeah, it was. It was this many teeth, many teeth,
and big claws that could rip you in half multiple times over.
I mean, even for a bear.
Yeah. Because you have to jump on a zip wire and bail really quick. You jump on a train and disappear, and
end of trailer.
End of trailer. It's coming 2018. The guys at 4A are working on it again.
Yeah, you kind of clicked onto that.
Yeah, they said 4A, and immediately that triggered, which is interesting because I haven't really played the Metro games, but I know that that's what they do.
Yeah. And do well from.
The games have never sold a really large amount.
Yeah, but I mean,
they've been
plenty of classics.
They've been received well, and I think that's what's important. I think that's why Microsoft were happy to get it on their stage, because this is a game that perhaps deserves more recognition than what it's getting.
Yeah. Maybe who knows? Maybe Phil just loves the fucking game. Who knows?
Well, I mean, that's how we got things like, and we're not going to spend
Voodoo Vince.
Well, no, but I was going to talk about. We had a big
Vince,
session with Middle Earth there. Now, we're not going to show it because it's kind of been shown around a little bit before Microsoft did their thing.
And they didn't really show too much new.
No.
It was kind of more of the story elements of like conversing with characters and stuff like that, and how dynamic it can be, which they've kind of done before anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
But it was like, it's, they're leaning on their relationships, and Phil's right next door, so he walks over apparently all the time and has a little chat to see what they're up to.
And look, speaking of stuff that...
Ori's back.
Yeah, speaking of
and
stuff,
another one that I cottoned onto immediately, like Gareth Coker, the composer of the game. They
sitting there on a grand piano.
Go, that's Ori, it's back, cool, and just spent the next 2.5 minutes just soaking it all up. It is one of my
jaw to the
favorite games of this generation, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah.
It looks stunning. It's despite the fact that you're playing a little weird, ghostly animal sort of thing. There's a ton of emotion there.
A Lambert, like lemur, sugar glider thing.
Yeah. And yet there was outside of all that, it was a really fantastic game as well. Like there was deep mechanics, precision. You had to be precise. It was really punishing, especially when you were trying to escape the different dungeons.
I'd heard that.
If you
I haven't played it myself, but
it's over. It required perfection, but for all you might get frustrated for 10-15 minutes, then it was gone. You got through.
Yeah.
Like, it was persistence. It was one of those persistence pays sort of things. But
and I guess it was one of those sort of hallmark ID at Xbox ones as well.
Yeah,
where
it was kind of one of the ones that really kicked off what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
in terms of the Xbox One.
And even PC as well, because I believe that was one of those sort of cross.
It did come to both, yeah.
Yeah. Not a cross purchase, but you know.
I mean, it says a lot. This is us kind of deviating a bit, and again, you're still seeing the trailer for Ori here. But Below is one that has been advertised since. This is the Capybara game.
Yeah.
It's been advertised since before the Xbox One launched, and it still hasn't arrived. And yet, this is a game that's developed by people scattered all across the world.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a couple that live nearby, but for the most part, they're scattered all over the planet, and they can still make this work. They put together the amazing original game. They're now working on a sequel. It looks fantastic from what little we've seen. I assume it's meant to be 2018. I think the trailer implied it was 2018. Or maybe it didn't. And in the meantime, something like Below,
who knows?
Still waiting, which is a real shame. Next up is a game that you and I have been waiting for the last few E3s. So, Sea of Thieves, again, this is another one we're going to have to cut that demo. Because
it was a very long demo.
It was 8 or 9 minutes, I think, thereabouts. 9.5 minutes.
But this was pure gameplay. Last year, they did that where they got people in to sort of fuck around with it and mess around as a crew. But this time it was a guy walking you through that gameplay.
And it still seems Destiny-ish in some cases. Like you see at the beginning of the mission that they have the name of the mission and then the 4 participants. So presumably there's not other players that are going to crash your party?
Well, I think other people on other boats. Isn't that supposed to be what it is?
Well, you see at the end of the trailer, and hopefully the way I've cut it, you actually get to see this. But
well, I mean, you're in charge of that, so...
again, hopefully the way I've cut it, I've done it right. Hopefully I remember to cut it the right way. But that you do see that you take on another ship at the end, and cannons are firing all over the place, and it's a really chaotic sort of affair. This is after you've found the treasure and you've slowly brought it out.
Avoided sharks.
Avoid a whole bunch of skeletons that were shooting at you and all sorts at the end there. Like it was kind of madness there at one point. And then just when you think you've gotten away with everything, you jump on the boat and all of a sudden there's people firing cannons at you and you jump into a cannon yourself.
Yeah, they do that a couple times. I think there's another scene where you're on land and you get up to a location
from the boat onto this island.
No, I think you get off and then someone gets fired to you at one point after you right. And then later on you're sort of firing cannons at in this kind of little boat fight, and then you kind of load up yourself with ammo, reload everything, jump in a cannon and just get launched over onto the deck, and then just kind of get business done, and then just when you think everything is all good and dandy, and jumps in the water, and then
get eaten by a shark.
That's it. Done.
Good.
Don't be like him.
Survive.
Yeah.
But it
cool. Looks great. I mean, the ocean looks insane.
I mean, I suppose you're spending all this time on the water. That you can only imagine that Rare would have put a lot of time into ensuring that looked as good as possible, coupled with the RT6 style that they're going for.
Yeah, for sure.
But there is a lot going on there. Like there's RPG elements again that we've seen, different bits of it. Mm-hmm. And then it's got this very first-person action sort of approach to it as well.
But it's also got that sort of
naval component,
following pirate clues, where it's like, hey, it gives you this cryptic clue, and you kind of got to figure it out for yourself.
To this point on the island, which in the end, in terms of the demo that we saw, you're looking around and then you turn around and all your buddies have abandoned you. They've already found the entrance.
Yeah, but I mean,
running in.
even after that, one of the like directions was like take 11 paces northwest or something like that, and you pretty much can count out the steps based on the actual like the head bob on the first person camera, and it's more or less around about that, and you do your digging and bang, there's the treasure chest. And I think if they've got a lot of that strewn upon the world, I think that,
and there's some of the cool things that we gravitate to when it comes to pirate
like buried treasures and stuff like that. It's that, you know, cryptic clues to where I've buried my treasure, and that's cool and interesting. I think that's great.
So Shark gets you end of trailer.
Done.
And the saddest bit in terms of what we've been talking about draft stuff, and we have discussed this while we were watching, it's coming early 2018, so this guy misses out on a game for the draft.
Yes. I'm probably still not going to win, but still.
It narrows the gap.
It does. It does. That and Red Dead is...
We feel fairly confident this is going to do well based on what we've seen so far.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I had a feeling last year that Zelda was going to do well. Anyway, let's move on.
So, next, State of Decay 2. So, another one that I personally felt, and again, another one I'm going to have to cut down because it's like a 5-minute trailer. But this is one I felt was almost a lock for this year, and it's not. Which is disappointing because the guys who did State of Decay, State of Decay it's not old, but like it's last generation. It's been around a while.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's taken as long as it has.
Did they put out any extra content for that?
They remastered it for this generation.
Yeah, but like after release, did they put out any DLC for it or anything like that?
I'd imagine so.
Okay.
But I don't know as much as I probably should.
Fair enough.
I think the bit that disappointed me most about this, and look, this could totally blow up in my face because we don't know what Sony's done yet. They've got their conference tomorrow, but I really felt they needed State of Decay this year because I feel like Sony's ready to go with Days Gone.
Do you reckon something like this would stand up to a Days Gone?
Look, they are going for two different sort of markets, I think.
I don't know.
Despite the fact that it's your waves and waves of zombies thing, this is more about let's fight to survive.
Do we even know that yet about Days Gone?
I feel like it's more narrative driven than what State of Decay will be. State of Decay, the story around it is the story that you create from what you've done to survive, whereas Days Gone, and again,
it'll probably be a scripted story. Yeah, you're right.
And I think that's the big difference between the two.
But I mean, it still seems like
there's going to be more meat on the bone, presumably.
Is there not still like building up a crew and tackling large hordes of zombies? Like there's still in Days Gone. Don't you have like your motorcycle crew or something like that?
Maybe.
Look, I don't know. I'm not sure.
We'll know more tomorrow.
It may be a shot in the dark, but I mean, look, they've got some things in common. But I mean, the question I still pose you: do you think this stands up to something like that?
Without having seen the Days Gone stuff yet,
I'm going
to say no.
I mean, even from what you saw last year,
I was really quite impressed. I think we both were last year. Like the fact that the game was as early as it was, and yet it was doing some fairly awesome things.
Yeah, like from a tech demo perspective.
They also clearly toggled off last year with Days Gone. They toggled off the enemies actually attacking because they were running past you and not doing anything.
Yeah,
fine, whatever. It's an E3 demo. We don't want you to die.
Yeah. Yes.
But
to touch back on that Need for Speed stuff
we'll go
from
back
yesterday.
To Need for Speed, take what we spoke about yesterday.
Yeah.
But,
look, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least.
I mean, look, Days Gone may not come out this year. Maybe it's next year, and that whole point I made was totally moot. But I feel like Sony might get a chance with a bit of a leg up here over Xbox again, which would be unfortunate because State of Decay, basically everyone who played the first one loved it. Whereas Days Gone is the unknown commodity. So
that's true. No, you're right.
The brand.
You're right. I mean, Days Gone could very easily tank.
Spring 2018. Oh, that'll be American spring. So our autumn.
Yeah.
So it's a few months still to wait. Now the next game is one that basically I was watching Twitter at the time and it was being aired and people were going, "What's this little thing with Fox?" Oh, what? Yeah, most people hadn't played Oculus Rift and Lucky's Tale.
Yeah, you clicked onto that pretty quick. It looked familiar to me because I'd seen it.
Well, I was following just the VR stuff a lot because I was planning on getting PlayStation VR. So I was looking to see what some of the other platforms had, and I'd really hoped Lucky's Tale would come across to PlayStation VR, which it didn't. It was exclusive to Oculus. Super Lucky's Tale, when that appeared, I've gone, oh my god, this is the bit. This is where Oculus gets announced for Xbox. Here we go.
Yeah, you were all up in it.
And then it turned out that it's a sequel, or it's
just a different
or remake of the same one minus VR. We're not exactly sure yet. It's coming out this November though. I think it was launch day.
Yes, it was.
Which is cool. I mean, I don't think it's going to be particularly taxing on the Xbox One X, but
no.
But I love me a 3D platformer. I love that they're back this year with your ukuleles and snake passes and those sorts of things. So I'm super keen to get to play this. It doesn't, to me, having watched a bit of the original Lucky's Tale, I don't think this is the same game. I think this is something different. And good on Microsoft for locking it down.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if it's permanently exclusive, if it's timed or whatever, but there's a market for this thing. And I think when you're going for a console launch, you've got your heavy hitting games, you've got your Crackdowns, you've got your Forza, which admittedly is a month before, but it's leaning.
But I mean, you've also got your Crash Bandicoots as well, and they don't really have those.
Yeah, and
so
I think it's great that they've got something that's more family friendly than this console as well.
And that was kind of the theme of the entire Xbox show, was that
something for everyone.
It was something for everyone. There was no huge blockbuster. There was no, this is the new Gears of War, this is the new Halo, this is the new,
Forza. But yeah, we expected that.
But Forza's not the that.
No, I agree.
It's not that like huge blockbuster.
Everyone stops and pays attention.
That's right. It's not this unit shifter that I guess.
It doesn't sell
those other ones.
If you want a racer and you're on PlayStation, well, you get Gran Turismo.
Not to mention that Forza will
whenever Gran Turismo rocks up.
Forza will also likely come to PC. I mean, Horizon did, so there's a good chance that it'll be there as well.
Every Xbox game's on PC now.
Yeah, so there you go. So, and look, it's probably going to look better on PC and probably run better and so on and so forth. So
Super Lucky's Tale looks really awesome.
It does. Sorry to get distracted, but like. Yeah, I mean, when you think of something like a Crash Bandicoot or something like that, you need something on the other hand, and it's certainly not going to be Blinks the Time Sweeper.
No,
that's for sure.
And while we're on the topic of things that are a bit different and stuff for everyone, we're about to jump into a trailer for Tacoma here, but it's also worth noting, and whilst I wasn't a big fan of it, there's going to be this prequel season of Life is Strange that got announced.
Yes.
That came kind of out of nowhere because it was a few weeks before E3 that Don't Nod, the developers of Life is Strange, said, hey, we're doing a season 2, look out for it, but we're not going to be at E3. And it turns out they weren't. It's a whole other studio that's doing this this prequel series, but whilst Don't Nod continues work on season 2. But Tacoma was there. These are the guys who did Gone Home, and doing something really strange and weird, and it's coming out in August, the beginning of August.
Yeah. I mean, this one's been sort of on the cards, Like,
very short, snappy trailer. I'm sure we'll see a lot more. Well, not a lot more, because these walking simulators, to use that really horrible, disparaging term for them, they're not the longest games in the world. So
no, it's true.
So they'll probably try to ensure that they don't kind of show off too much and spoil too much.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of don't want that.
We've just brought up another Annapurna game. Now, this one is important for those of us in Australia. Like us. The Artful Escape is something that, I mean, the two of us were kind of left scratching our heads throughout, but it's nice to see an Aussie indie studio. This wasn't part of, I mean, it was part of the indie reel that we looked at.
Yes, it was part of that sizzle reel, yeah.
But it also got its own time standing alone to kind of show off what it is and what it's capable of. And there's some weird stuff going on. He's platforming and then all of a sudden he jumps up, he's got a guitar in hand, lands on a giant plant and it lights up like Christmas and flying on top of birds, still playing guitars. We're seeing like Darth Vader helmets popping up out of the ground. Like, it's a really strange.
It's a weird thing.
But there were a few reviewers that have clearly spent some time with the game in the past. And I think you said you'd seen it somewhere.
I think I saw it at PAX last year. Yeah.
And they've had really, really good things to say about it. So that bodes well. Seems to have that same. I mean, it's not the same style of game. But coming when it's damn ready, very kind of Aussie close to the game.
Very go fuck yourself.
Yeah, but it has that kind of Lovers in Dangerous Space Time kind of weird, quirky, whatever. Sort of
almost like a collage, but a bit neater, I suppose, type of art style.
And we've got two more little indie games that we're going to close things out on. We did speak about the Darwin Project. We'll show the trailer because I didn't cut it from our list.
You could probably cut it now.
I could probably cut it now. We've spoken a little bit about it.
What do we have next?
We've got the last night. Not to disparage the game, but it's not really something that's totally up our alley. The last night is the last trailer that we've got here. This was another one of those indie games that briefly touched on in the
yes, this was the fuck, I've lost
the
it.
Odd Tales, an Odd Tales game.
Nah, the fucking movie.
It's going to come to you.
The movie, the fucking
Tim Burton.
No,
I know. Well, maybe it'll come to you as we're watching the
Blade Runner.
Oh, it gave
the Blade Runner one. Yeah. This is the one I mentioned before.
It was an interesting sort of one because at first I'm going, oh yeah, kind of realistic sort of game, and then all of a sudden we're seeing
all them pixels.
Pixelated dude. Still impressively detailed despite its
the lighting is incredible.
It's really, really cool the artifacts they've done there. It's a little bit disturbing seeing a big fat hairy guy in a really shallow pool like you do at one point there. Look out for that one when you're watching the trailer.
Yeah, no, it's very, very Blade Runner, which I like. I think that's fantastic. There is one other thing that's very important that we need to touch on, and that was the backwards compatibility announcement.
Yes, so if you own an Xbox One or an Xbox One S or an Xbox One X, you can get OG Xbox games.
Yes, Xbox original games are going to be coming backwards compatible just like their 360 counterparts, which is
awesome.
Crazy awesome, yeah.
I missed the original Xbox One. I picked up a few games for it when I got my 360 because the 360 was backward compatible, but I'm
ever so slightly. There was a very short list.
Yeah, I grabbed the Halos, I grabbed Fable, the Lost Chapters.
Whereas me, I picked up Jet Set Radio Future, and which also came with Sega.
I got KOTOR 1 and 2.
Sega Rally, and I also picked up Psychonauts as a backwards compatible.
Yes. I'm really quite eager at the prospect of those. Now,
even just those titles are...
They weren't as specific about this, where we know with the 360 games you can put in the disc and it installs it. They didn't elaborate as to whether that was
I don't know about that.
Original Xbox, but we know even in the case of the 360 ones, you could download those games if you wanted to.
Yes, true.
So we know that we've got access to, and I would imagine that first wave of games, we're going to see KOTOR 1 and 2, we're going to see Halo 1 and 2, or maybe we won't see Halo 1 and 2.
I mean, they've got the Master Chief Collection.
And it was remastered on the 360 and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, look, who knows? Maybe we see Blinks the Time Sweeper after all.
yeah, why not?
I'd love to see Jet Set Radio Future. I think that's a fucking real shame that it hasn't been...
This guy would 100% the achievement.
Oh, yeah, fuck, yeah. I would. I'd be all over it.
Yeah.
And look, even something like Psychonauts, I mean, it's on Steam, so it's definitely not impossible. Whether they go to Double Fine and say, hey...
Can you make it happen?
Yeah,
I mean, Psychonauts is already on PS4.
Well, yeah, true.
So,
is it on Xbox One? No. Okay. Well, then there you go. Maybe that's...
They released alongside the Rhombus of Ruin, the PSVR game.
Well, look, maybe that's where they go with that. Who knows?
Yeah, possible.
It's really interesting. Really, really interesting.
Yeah. You're happy with what you saw in that regard, though? Like,
look, for me...
They said they'll announce more in the future.
I think, and I said it to you during the conference, I feel like what Microsoft has been doing has been really garnering a lot of, like, hey, we are actually going to do some cool shit just for you guys. That's the sort of thing where it's like, well, you're putting in a lot of effort that, I mean, even if you get... Like the amount of money you're going to earn on that is probably not equal to the amount of effort you're putting in.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
But it's for the fans.
Exactly, and look, like you said, like a lot of that stuff's already on PS4 or Steam or whatever the case may be. So going back and doing that work purely because it was on the original Xbox, I think is great. And to my knowledge,
the Ninja Gaidens would be another game too that would come across the most.
Well, yeah, true. Yeah,
you could
sure.
You could play the black versions of them on, I think, PS3 and 360 and that sort of stuff. But to be able to play them in their raw, unedited version, like that's kind of cool too.
And to my knowledge, I mean, factoring out the sort of Wii U stuff, this is probably the first console that will be moving forward consistently backwards compatible 2 generations.
Well, you can play, licensing stuff aside, you can play any game ever released on an Xbox platform.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like,
really cool.
Because you had the PS3 that was backwards compatible to
1, 2, and then
it stopped it. They cut the feature.
It's not happening in PlayStation.
So
and PlayStation now.
But again, that's another
still
sort of
PS1 and PS2. So
so I think that's really cool. That's really interesting.
No, I think it's great.
And again, like virtual console aside, of course, because that's like the amount that they're asking for those games is not equivalent to.
Well, they ask you to buy the game 4 or 5 times with every bloody platform that comes out. We'll talk more about that, I guess. Hopefully, Nintendo addresses in one way, shape, or another.
Well, I think they've already started to address that, I believe, with the online service, but we'll touch,
that's a topic for Nintendo.
But again, look, just a really great goodwill gesture, I think, to fans. It's really cool. Just from like a, hey, that's a real cool guy thing you did for people, just cause.
Yeah,
you know?
No, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that springs to mind? Assassin's Creed was there. We are going to see more of that.
Yeah, we'll leave that to Ubisoft.
To not really focus on that because Ubisoft being a third-party publisher, and they won't have anywhere near as much as what you'd expect from Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. So we'll leave that till then. Middle-earth was there. It looked cool.
There was no Halo news as originally purported. They've said it was probably something to do with something that's already out. There was no Oculus, there was no VR at all, there was no Smart Glass, there was
no HoloLens.
That's the one I was thinking. HoloLens. There was Minecraft. There was Minecraft in 4K. Let's move on.
Why?
I don't know. Let's move on. You know that both of us are just going to fucking get wound up about it, so let's move on.
We won't. But look, there were plenty of cool things. And again, we touched on some other little bits like PlayerUnknown's Battleground. That's one of the biggest games on the planet right now.
Yes.
It's coming to Xbox.
They also talked about, was it Mixer?
Mixer, what's it replaced?
The Beam service?
Yeah, the old Beam. Jeez, did they dropped Mixer at every opportunity. If they didn't say it verbally, it was in the bottom left corner of the screen. Hey, you should go use Mixer. Like,
look, I mean, they're trying to do something new again. Yeah. I mean,
the different
who knows
portions of Microsoft.
If they're having games like, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, who knows?
Yeah,
could be worth it.
Maybe possible. Maybe worth it. Overall, though, happy with Microsoft.
Yeah, I thought I enjoyed it from the standpoint of like, all right, you're trying to appeal mass market rather than just being like, cool, here's your big sort of franchise for your hardcores. If you look at it, you got there was Super Lucky Tale, you got Ori, you got State of Decay, you've got Forza. Even with those Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, those 6 games alone, plus third parties like Anthem and stuff like that.
And the fact that you still, even
that's
though they
touching on
they've got their partnerships with PlayStation, you're still going to see your Call of Duties, your Battlefront.
Oh yeah, exactly. But that's touching on a lot of different groups of people.
Yeah.
The same people that's going to be enjoying Super Lucky Tale would not necessarily be the same group of people who would be enjoying Sea of Thieves, and they would not be the same group of people enjoying Crackdown.
Yeah, for sure.
They Venn diagrammed like a boss, in my opinion.
They did a good job. They needed to, and Phil did say it's one of our most diverse showings, and they followed through on that.
Yeah, they did. And I think, look, there was some sort of negativity, I guess, after that, being like, oh, well, there was no blockbuster thing. But
look, for me personally, there wasn't. Sea of Thieves was great, and Ori was great, and that's it was good to see Anthem, but I'll probably play it on my PlayStation because I play most things on my PlayStation. There were some really great games there, but the only concern I have from the whole thing is I don't think that there's anything they showed that's going to push the needle back towards Xbox. I don't think there's anything there that's going to
make it a system shifter.
Potential PlayStation buyer jump ship.
Yeah.
Despite the console being more powerful and blah 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 blah. Teraflops.
Probably up until they do side by sides.
Yeah.
I think when they start to do side by sides, that might be.
Microsoft won't, but your different publications out there.
Your Digital Foundry might, your average YouTuber might, and I think when there definitely is a subset of people out there that is like, I want the one
best looking version,
but not just that, but runs the best as well.
Yeah.
So who knows?
That don't want to play on PC because PC's for dogs.
Well, yeah, some people just want the box ready made for them.
Yeah. So I guess with that is the Xbox press conference.
Yeah.
We've seen Bethesda as well today already, so we'll record that a little bit later and we'll be able to see that tomorrow, so look out for that. But then, of course, tomorrow we're tuning in to watch both Sony and Ubisoft So we'll have some impressions from that too. Nintendo,
and going to bed early
really
before.
Touch on because circumstances, our work. Maybe we'll do something via audio. We haven't worked out what we'll do in regards to Nintendo. We'll get back to you on that when the time comes. But I guess
we'll probably do that.
We're pretty happy, something like that. But we're both pretty happy with what Microsoft's done.
Yeah, for sure.
Press conference. They've had some shockers in recent years. That was brilliant. I was really happy with that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess that's everything from us. Make sure to please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Visit player2.net.au for all the awesome written content. There are consistent summaries coming out for all the press conferences. There's other articles being written by other writers.
You can check him out at Page or some shit at Twitter. Fucking who cares?
Paul James P2 on Twitter. Player2AU for the site on Twitter. He's not on the Twitterers.
No, I don't do damn internets.
But please stick around. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode where we talk all about Bethesda, like we said. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you later.
Peace.